Information soaked inside the mind. Wisdom, experience, we're focused on your grind. Understanding comprehension through the quotes and all lines. And respect that should be given to your folks at all times. Expect to be amazed with what I'm posting online. From the funky instrumentals to my logos and designs. Message on the garment, plus it comes with hard rhymes. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and respect at all times.
Whoa. Does that say India superior and India inferior? Now, some of y'all would think that I just got this map off the internet some random place, but this is a literal map. Where did I get this? This is straight from Spain, from the Casa de Colón, the Museum of Christopher Columbus. Why did I even look this up? Because I was watching this lady, a professor, and she was saying that she had read some manuscripts, she didn't say diary, manuscripts, letters, she might have said journal, different things of Christopher Columbus. And I was hard pressed to find anything with actual handwritings. Now I have the actual book of Christopher Columbus from 1493, but Christopher Columbus didn't type or have a printing press. Christopher Columbus would have wrote what he said. The book would have looked something like this. This is a book from that museum as well. I'm not for sure which book, and unfortunately, I can't go through the pages. But I screenshotted the page and other pages, and I'm going to try to use ChatGPT later to see if it can try to decipher it. Now, I couldn't go to the website for some reason. I may need to get a VPN because it kept saying that I was denied access to the Christopher Columbus website in Spain. And why did I want to get access to it? Because typically most museums have a virtual tour where you can walk around and like you're there. But I didn't have access. So what did I do? I typed it in on YouTube, found somebody who's speaking Spanish that actually did get access to it, and they're doing the walkthrough. And now I can see it. And here's the map. There's a book with writings in it, and there's another map. And that map says goddamn India on both. And they know exactly what it was. That's why they called it the West Indies. Other fools would try to tell you that these people got lost. But I already showed in a book called, whatever it's called, but The Conquest of Mexico and New Spain from 1551, that it said that it seems to me that Christopher Columbus, long before he came to Spain, already had thought of where the Indies were located and had long sought out after the writings of Seneca with people that spoke of ships that came over to discover it. They said the Carthaginian merchants had went there, and Christopher Columbus was well aware of it. Okay, and he also concerned with other people about ancient lands and worlds. He was going around looking for the place and asking about it. He knew what India was. So for me to see India listed on the map in the Christopher Columbus Museum in Spain, you don't think they could have corrected it after all these years? Or you think they want to keep up the lie? You think they did this to be like, well, this was actually his accident and we're just trying to preserve his accident instead of calling it America on the map? Because let me show you how asinine people like this is. Now, she's a professor, and she already admitted.
Most people, even professors, know very little about Columbus. Very few have read his diary, his letters, and his memos. Before I began my research, I too knew hardly anything about him except in 1492 he sailed the ocean blue.
They don't know a damn thing. But McGraw-Hill bullshit. And that's everybody except for whoever has visited over there in Spain, or maybe people overseas, because maybe they have a better grasp on history from not being censored from everybody else, from whatever, the censorship that has gone on in the United States to keep our history hidden from us. And I say that because she tried to present a map like this. She tried to present a map to keep up the whole story that Christopher Columbus is lost. And so what they did is there's a map of the United States and of America, North America, South America. Spain is over there. Well, she superimposed Asia with the Philippines over it. She was like, well, technically, This is what he was looking for. But that doesn't make sense because they would be trying to call this Asia Minor and these little islands Asia Minor. That my major, I'm sorry, and this minor or in superior and inferior. But they call these the East Indies. The East Indies in the tropic zone, like the West Indies. So there is no area for them to have a India inferior. But clearly on the map in Spain, in Christopher Columbus's museum, and I think his historical fucking home, there is a India superior and a India inferior. And they have been playing with us. Straight playing. And they've been telling you he was lost, and I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of the bullshit. And now nobody can tell me. I got the ultimate proof. If you can't prove to me that this is incorrect, then I got the primary, and you playing. Whoa. All right, so I found this in the Library of Congress. This is my third time doing this video, TikTok, but 1724, The Conquest of Mexico by Antonio Salas. Now, these people are melanated Indians, but before we get to that, look at the structures in the back. Look how high they go. Look at the little steeple things or whatever on the top, reaching all up, what y'all would call, free energy like things, but we're going to look closer at this. But this is 1724 depicted. Now, like I said, I saw this in the Library of Congress, and I could tell it was a book because here's the book cover, hardbook cover, the other side of the book cover, and the pages. And in the middle, there's the little fold. So we know that this is in a book, so I had to get on the hunt for this book. And as you can see, the people are melanated compared to the Spaniards. Even look at the hair and the shortness of it compared to the Spaniards, okay? And look at the people's their whole physique, just like and different from the Spaniards, just like us today. You know what I'm saying? And these are melanated. There's your Spaniard. Easy to see, right? Hairstyle. Look at that hair right there. Look at the hair. And here's a whole plethora of them, okay? If you think that they were getting the depiction wrong. But I knew that these were our building structures because you can see the melanated Indians in the window. So I scoured around looking for this book, and I'm still scouring, okay? All of these are links that I selected, and a lot of these books, all of them, did not have the actual drawing inside of them. They were all altered versions of the book because it's being censored. Here's one of the books, so you can know that I'll go into the books, and what I do is I open them all the way up and I scroll through to see at least if I can see that drawing. So at least if it had this drawing in it, then I know that I'm in the right book that I'm looking for, right? It's literally showing me a description of them. So if it doesn't have this, then what am I doing? Reading it. Now, when you go looking for these books, these old books that have been altered, it will be possible to find remnants of them through other means. What am I saying? This is eBay. Somebody's selling a book on eBay. Now, they didn't show that particular drawing, but they showed other drawings, which I'm going to get in closer to. This shows us playing on like Mayan-like temples, which are all throughout Mexico, playing on these temples and enjoying ourselves. This also shows a city, a compound, an actual place that does not look like some TP setup like stuff. These are stone structures. Now that was on eBay. I was also able to find the book on some other random website, and I noticed that it had to be the correct book because it has the same drawing from the Library of Congress. But this one sold out and it doesn't have a full digital version. I just got lucky that they actually put this in there. Digitized on here because these are the only photographs they show for it. And so you can see I'm on the same site and I'm zoomed in. And so that lets you know that these people, there's people that know that they're keeping up this censorship. And not only that, the censorship was so major back in the day, in the 1700s, 1600s, whatever, that there's so many books printed of the fake versions that it makes it hard to find the real version. And that was by design. Now I'm going to come to this book that I've read before that I'm going to show you that how these people would censor us and who it was that censored us for hundreds of years. Also Europe. But before we get to this same thing happened in another book, which is why this actually prompted me to go back towards that book, which is this book. Somebody has showed me this book and this cover or title page or whatever within on a YouTube video long ago. Eventually, I found the English version of it, and I'm gonna show you that. But notice this is the Spanish version. Notice you have a melanated Indian. You notice you have curly hair, you know, with the bow and arrows and feathers. But when I found the YT version, which is still in Spanish, but they brought it over and it's in England, in the US or Europe or wherever now, they've placed a YT head in its place. Let me get close so you can see it. But this ain't even the only version, because that almost has a little bit of shading, almost making you think that it could be the Indian, right? But there's other messed up versions of this book with an even more YT head and curly hair. Not even curly, but like you know, the little poof things they had. I don't know what they call. Here's another version. These people be playing. I would show right here, but it almost looks like breast, even though this is a dude. It's supposed to be a dude. And here you have one that's even more obvious. Same book, but the head is very much so unmelanated compared to the rest of the body. Now, these are real books. These are real reprints of the same book, which I found on another website, finally, that had this guy on it. Now, notice how obvious this is correct. Okay, and he's stepping on what looks like a Bible and on a crown. You know what I'm saying? With the little scepter. And I wonder, you know what? I'm just now thinking about this. Stepping on the crown and scepter, like stepping on that Christianity and the Spanish crown coming over, trying to take over the Indians. Just thought about that. But regardless, this is the actual book. And I found it on another website, which is in all French or Spanish. This could be, I think this is one of the two. I think this is French though, but I found it on a website that actually had the real thing. So this is, just think about that. In the American websites, it was hard to find the real thing. On these French, other, websites, I can find sometimes somebody showing an actual, digitized version of the real thing. And inside this book, you can literally see even more melanated Indians on the couple of actual drawings that they showed. Just to kind of put in more close, look at the hair, look at the high colored melanation. And I don't know what he's stepping on. Them almost looks like something you use for going through snow, but I don't think they're going through snow. And there's another melanated Indian right there. Now again, let me bring you to a book that talks about this. It says, at this distance of time, when the state of the world is so different from what it was in the 16th century, the 1500s, it may not be readily conceived how easy it was for the Council of the Indies, through the power vested in it, of permitting or prohibiting the general circulation of all writings relative to America, to keep the rest of Europe in a state of darkness respecting the history of the new continent. It says, for these centuries, those who successfully composed that council, the Council of the Indies, exercised their functions as censors, censorship, book publication alteration, stopping the circulation of Spanish books who were telling the truth, censoring the truth of America having melanated Indians who spoke Hebrew, who practiced certain religious practices and things of that nature with the greatest vigilance. If powerful patronage or inadvertence on their part suffered, or whatever. It kind of keeps going, but it starts to give examples of how they did censorship. Even on this page, it says the secret correspondence of Cortez with Charles V, together with the rigorous censorship which was exercised by the Holy Tribunal, the Council of the Indies, successfully proved that even this least offensive view of the subject was to be expressed with reserve. Meaning, hey, if you want to talk about the letter between these two guys, you better keep some of that information about America out of there. Because Mexico is America. Get it out your head that it's not. If you think it's not, you're an idiot. This whole continent, the whole north and south connected landmass is America. And in that conquest of America, they found melanated Indians. And they were telling about those melanated Indians. until the Council of the Indies told them to stop it. Now they were still doing it, but it looks like they weren't putting these books into publication as much as the other books. They're altered versions. But you see the structures, you see the people, you see the lies. And you can see some if you can find some. It ain't easy, but you can find some. And you can see how to fucking deal with these people's lies, because they be playing. So I'm reading more into this Spanish book from 1792. And as I'm translating these pages, I see things talking about how some of the people had mantles, cotton mantles and cloaks, different things as well. Now that got me thinking. I was like, man, I've actually seen this many times about the Indians having mantles, cotton mantles. I made a video about it. But something made me look into my actual photographs of my receipts, and it actually appeared in several books, some which I didn't even know the word was on that page, because that's not even the reason why I took a screenshot of that page, but it had the word mantle. So I have several sources, and we're going to get into those sources, but that cotton cloth there would be a mantle. This right here that is draped over them would be mantles. Same thing with the blue one on her, or the red one on her, or that might be actual skins, but that could be skins, but that could be a cotton mantle, but it looks like it could be skins. I say that because it's double-sided. The other side is like what it looks like. So here in the Research is Philosophical and Antiquarian Concerning the Aboriginal History of the United, or whatever, it's a long-ass title, they talk about the Portuguese gentleman. They say he notices this kind of clothing as being common among them. He also reports that a great many mantles made of white, red, green, and blue feathers, very convenient for the winter, were found in certain deserted homes. They fell in with on the march or whatever. He said Dupratz also describes feather mantles. So you got two people who are describing feather mantles or mantles. Coming over here in the Invasion of the Territory of Alabama in 1540 by De Soto, it says here, the dress of the females consisted of a mantle thrown over the shoulder with one arm exposed. A mantle thrown over the shoulder with one arm exposed. A mantle thrown over the shoulder with one arm exposed. It says the arm exposed while another mantle encircled the body. They were made of the inner bark of trees and of a species of flax. The men were apparelled with these same mantles thrown over the shoulder. Like this one on a German website, which is labeled as America with a dot on him. And he has a red mantle over one shoulder. And looks like going around his waist a little bit, but around one shoulder, one arm exposed. Now, in a book called The Spanish Settlements in 1901, talking about De Soto, but it's a little bit different of a book. It says, to their chief town of the Catapechique at Silver Bluff on the Savannah River found them governed by a queen, rich with treasures of pearls and mantles, of a yarn made of the bark of trees and of colored feathers. The native clothed and shod, or whatever that is. But either way, I want you to notice that some people were saying that these are made of feathers. Some people are saying they're made from barks of trees. Some people say it's some whatever, but they know that they are all mantles of some type of cloth, and they got different colors. They also mention the pearls, no different from the pearls right there on her around her neck. And the pearls around her neck, arms, and on her ears with her mantle over one side with the other arm exposed. Now, this is Christopher Columbus's first voyage. Okay, he went to the Lucayan Islands. This is a book from 1551 in the Library of Congress, and it says right here that at those times they wore mantles of cotton, very fine feathers, and large headdresses. They wore girdles and conchas or whatever that covered their shame, things of that nature. So again, we got cotton, we got barks of trees, we got feathers, we got multiple different things that they're saying that these mantles are made out of. And when you Google what a mantle is, it's a cloth or a cape-like cloth. Some have added hoodies to it. But it's a cape-like cloth, like that right there. And like many of the other ones I've been showing, mantles, feathers, pearls, double pearls in the ears, descriptive, red, white, and blue. They even said that with some green. White, red, green, and blue are the colors with the mantles and the feathers. Now, this is in another book that I'm reading right now that I had to translate from the Spanish version. It was the first book I showed you. And it talks about how they have several cloaks and mantles. I think I might have already shown this. Here's another passage. It says, they go about naked except for times at war, festivals, and dances. At those times, they wore mantles of the cotton, very fine feathers, and large headdresses. Here's another passage. For the king, 2 noble horsemen carry him on rich cotton mantles, and they take him to the field where he is whatever. So multiple references to these mantles. Here's another one. It says the northern regions similar to these withstand the great cold and ice of winter without ceasing to hunt and wear no clothing for warmth. For although they sometimes throw a woolen mantle over their shoulder, which does not fit close to the body, or instead wear an animal skin, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, as far as descriptions, how they depicted us in America, and this website has hundreds of these. It's in German. You can find it. Just Google that right there. But this website has this, and they've recently put it out here and digitized it. It used to be just a book, but that means modern day people have labeled these as positively, yes, depictions of Americans. And you can say, well, these people weren't there, whoever drew these at the time. Well, they sure have a hell of a damn good descriptive photo painting of all the details of what these voyagers wrote in all of these books. And these were many different voyagers that were writing these things. Okay, so if these people didn't go there, then these people must have read many of those books and have made paintings based upon what they read and believed was true about the Americas.
"40 million black people in America are the role models for 1.8 billion black people in the world. When we say something's cool, it's cool in Tibet. When we say something's a dud, it's a dud in North Korea. We have mastered culture, community, and cool and creativity, yes or no? So now all we have to do is switch, become bilingual, and master capitalism, commerce, and a new community. Don't go from rocking the mic to owning it. So I want you just to shift your brain. In other words, you are the capital. You already have what you need. When you walk in a room, you are unique. Everybody wants to be you, except they don't want to be black.
The black man in America is the most copied man on this planet, bar none. Everybody want to be a nigga, but nobody want to be a nigga. How about that question?